everybody, this is Sarah Whitaker.
And Salty Dalty.
Here for Working the World, episode 15. Today we're going to go into the world of politics and professional wrestling. Now, you can find us wherever you can find your favorite podcast platform, and you can find us on YouTube on Working the World 0240.
I'm glad you got that right.
I got that right this time.
Yep, you stole it from me, so you should get it right.
Well, yes, because he as mentioned in previous episodes, he had the 0240 on his back for his
character, and that came out of my social media for wanting to have 24 and couldn't have it on Salty Dalty, so there we go.
All right, recently, unfortunately, you got injured.
Yes, not a major injury, but enough to be able to, put me on the sideline temporarily. But on Thursday night, I actually hyperextended my knee and darn near tore my PCL in the back of my knee to the point where whenever I try to walk, my knee would just bend the wrong damn way because I caught somebody off a crossbody and just couldn't handle their weight coming at me at that angle, and my knee just buckled. Not anything wrong with the guy or anything he did in the ring. It was just that the situation didn't work because I think I might have been just a little bit too close, so I'll take responsibility for that one. But, it's coming along, somewhat well. And let me go ahead and turn on Do Not Disturb for this right here.
Gotta use that timer.
Yeah, I got it going right now.
Sweet.
But, my knee, when I caught him, just went the wrong darn way. And, I've been told by a couple of guys, like, hey, at your body weight and your height, and especially because you already have a torn meniscus in the same knee, you need to start wearing a heavy brace in the ring because, you've got, big, thick legs, but you have small joints naturally. Because I got that from both sides of my family. Both my parents are very small jointed as far as like how wide and thick and dense their like cartilage in their joints are. As a matter of fact, on my mom's side of the family, arthritis is very prevalent, and that's something I know I'm probably going to have to deal with later in life. But for those of you wondering, I'm going to be okay. I'll be back in the ring somewhat soon, just being able to get this darn thing to heal up and get to 100%. But I did go to the gym today. I did do some light box squats, some light sumo deadlifts, got some range of motion back in my knees, so I'm happy to be back at it.
Wonderbar. Now let's talk about our jargon of the day. Politician. Politicians are people that work the backstage politics in order to get a leg up on the industry.
That doesn't work for me, brother.
That doesn't work for me, brother.
Yeah, just like whenever you see the word politician in any wrestling dictionary or thesaurus or encyclopedia or whatever they're still reading nowadays, probably Wikipedia or something like that, but yeah, two people that, or two groups of people that were known for being very political backstage as far as, being able to, have the show go their way are probably Hulk Hogan and The Click. Probably the two most notorious ones, so because they were able to get in Boss Man's ear in their company at the time and tell him, like, hey, this is the way I think that the ship should be stirred. It's subjective whether you think they made the right decision or not, so just go ahead and leave a comment in the comment section. Tell us who you think is the best backstage politician as far as like the ability to persuade the boss, and whether you think it was for the greater good or the greater worse.
Yeah. I mean, I can't, especially the stories with Hulk Hogan and Jesse Ventura. I mean, it's just how you play the politics in order to get the big money is insane.
Well, we were actually going to talk about Jesse here a little bit today because we were actually going to partially talk about wrestlers who went into politics after being in the business.
Well, let's start with the basic history of one. Abraham Lincoln, of all people.
Yes. Yeah, to my knowledge, Abraham Lincoln was, I think, a freestyle wrestler. He was either a freestyle or a catch-style wrestler. I have to go in Wikipedia and see, but I do know that he did some form of wrestling, and after being a career politician for years, and during the Civil War, hey, ended up becoming president. And he's that, he is the one president that I now know that is currently on two pieces of U.S. currency. It's like he's on the $5 bill and the penny. So it's like George Washington, I know, was on the quarter, but at the same time, I don't think he's always been on the quarter. So I think the entire time they've had the penny, to my knowledge, they might have had Abe on there. So I have to look that up on Wikipedia too. So I'm old and tired and I want more horsepower.
Wrong industry, dearest.
Yes.
All right. So we're going from. I mean, should we go more into modern day, or should we go into the next
Abe,
on the timeline?
Abe was the first.
Abe was the first, but then we had lots of mayors. Mm-hmm. We had just like we were talking about Jesse Ventura,
who was a mayor and a governor, because he was mayor of Brooklyn Park, Minnesota for, I think, 4 years after he left. Around the time that he was in WCW, he was also mayor of Brooklyn Park, Minnesota, before he put out his campaign to go for governor.
And then he got governor.
Mm-hmm. As technically an independent.
As an independent, which is very impressive.
Mm-hmm.
Now we have Ray Rougeau in Quebec.
Yep. Yeah, he's the mayor of one of the towns in Quebec. Let's see, we've had, it's even more prevalent in Japan. Like, you've had Antonio Inoki as part of the Japanese diet. You've had Hiroshi Hase, who I believe is currently still in office doing some work in the Japanese diet as well. You've had, actually, do you remember Kenzo Suzuki, who was in WWE for a hot second?
I do remember him.
Yeah, well, his wife is actually a politician out there and currently in office in one of the offices that they have in Japan. So it's like, not only is it prevalent to have men in the industry in office and politics, but also women.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, we got it up. Don't worry about that.
I know. I have to check the time as much as you do.
Yeah, well, I also don't wear a watch, and I barely keep my phone close by me. So, if for all those people out there that wonder why I don't instantly respond to messages, I always misplace my stuff.
Alrighty. But we can't forget Kane either.
Oh, Lord, the Big Red Mare.
The Big Red Machine, mayor of Knox County.
Yep, well, now he's the Big Red Mayor.
Big Red Mayor.
So, let's see, he's been Big Red Machine, Big Red Monster, Brother of the Undertaker, the world's worst dentist, a Christmas tree, diesel impersonator, and he's probably been... most known as probably being the guy that this
wasn't he 24/7?
Yes, as Mayor Glenn Jacobs, not as Kane, as Glenn Jacobs. Mm-hmm. But yeah, and the thing I remember him most for in his latter years is Corporate Kane.
Yes.
Especially because I think that was the perfect segue for him to get into office and be able to have people see him in that light, because he has a degree in political science from, I think, Truman State University in Missouri. So, but yeah, him and Jesse were probably the most two prevalent that were in the industry as wrestlers that became, career politicians. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, I got it up. Don't worry, I just have to flick it.
Okay.
We're doing good on time. Don't worry about that.
Well, I get paranoid.
Yeah. Finish with my woman. No. I'll find a segue going to something, so...
Alrighty. Well, especially with, we're going into higher politics here with Linda McMahon.
Yep.
And,
well, she was actually in the cabinet as the head administrator of Small Business Bureau. So, and it's like, it could be taken one of two ways. When she was in office the first time is because she tried to become a senator in Connecticut in 2010. And then... Trump put her on as the administrator or the head administrator of Small Business Bureau, and that could have gone one way or the other for the industry, because it probably did better for the company than the industry having her in there, because you could argue conflict of interest, but I don't know if her and Vince were still together at the time, though.
Well, even if they weren't, I mean, she owes a lot to the professional wrestling industry.
Yeah.
And especially, I mean, she had her own daughter on her promotional videos for Senator. I mean, so, I mean, it's like, yeah, there is a connection to having been in the entertainment industry.
You know something that I'm surprised that her political opponents did not do? Do you remember the four-way feud that they had going into WrestleMania 2000 where each of the McMahons chose a wrestler to represent them in the main event? Because Linda had Mick Foley, Shane had the Big Show, Stephanie had Triple H, who was champion at the time, and you had the Rock being represented by Vince. And all four of them were going and beating the hell out of each other in the coming weeks before the show on TV. As far as, well, later on, like Vince saying, he's like, I'll never ever forgive your mother for giving birth to you and crap like that. And Stephanie actually slapping all the family members, and comes Linda, and Linda slaps the crap out of her. And it's like, why did they not use that as political backlash on Linda on their opponent's political things? Like, I'm surprised that they didn't do that. It's like, do you really want somebody who stands for these family values? It's like, I could totally see them doing that.
By that time, the internet was out and everybody knew it was a work.
Yeah.
But, I mean...
But then again, some people are not smart. I've come across through the wrestling industry and will buy anything that they see on social media, so you never know.
Well, especially with Linda McMahon and stuff like that. I mean, it's like you could say that, this is somebody who promotes these values.
That's why I was
rather than actually...
Well, yeah, that's kind of the point I was trying to get to, because she was CEO of the company. So that's kind of along the lines that I was going to. Darn, you had to cut me off before I made my point.
I'm sorry.
As you should be. No, I'm just kidding.
No.
Oh, you big baby.
I'm a baby.
Yeah, do that in front of the wrestlers to creep them out. Well, you already did it to one.
I already did it to one.
Yeah. But anyway, we digress. So.
Alrighty, so who else do we have on the list of politics? Well, here's the thing. Now, okay, we already go on record by saying we don't take sides in politics. So, I mean, we're here just to comment on his involvement in professional wrestling. So, I mean, it's like... President Trump was, in fact, heavy in WWE and, in fact, was on it.
Hell of the billionaires. He shaved Vince McMahon's head, for crying out loud. You call that heavy? Are you kidding me? He almost made an entire house. Well, I mean, I'm sure the house would have been great in Detroit that night anyway, but... having him go and have Bobby Lashley beat up Umaga, shave Vince McMahon's head, and actually have him clothesline Vince on the outside of the ring is like that. How can you not want to pay to see that? Because it's like, especially back then before Trump went into politics, like he was the number one reality game show host at the time. So it's like, of course, it's going to turn some eyes that, might not even be wrestling fans to watch pay-per-view. But, and then they brought Trump back. They put him in the Hall of Fame. I mean, it's like the ability to use the professional wrestling industry to be able to promote yourself in a way to learn how to manipulate people's emotions are very useful in politics. Kane even went on record saying that, and learning the backstage politics side of things too, it's even more useful.
Well, especially learning the art of backstage politics in order to set you up for real-time politics. I mean, it's like having to watch your back and promote yourself to the people that are running the company in order to say, hey, maybe I should get a run or something along those lines, or maybe somebody else shouldn't get that run. Just to be able to either learn how to stay out of it or to dive head into it.
You have to deal with it eventually. I've had to watch my back several times, as well as say, hey, no, I'm not going to do that. So even as far as recently. So yes, I know, honey, we're not quite to the halfway point. Yeah, don't worry about it. I mean, because you do have to watch your back at all times politically. You do have to make sure that, you're not going to get yourself hurt in the ring by working with a guy who's got a reputation of being dangerous in the ring. You got to make sure that it's like, hey, I don't like the way this angle's going and all that. So you do have to sometimes say no, because you have to look out for yourself because you're an independent contractor, but you also need to look out as like, hey, this might hurt my chances of making money in the future, looking back at this if it fails. So that's my point, and,
Right. I mean, it's like, especially seeing these wrestlers go into politics. I mean, it's like it prepares you in order to make that step into the realm of politics. Mm-hmm. Because I mean, you get a sense of self, you get a sense of how other people work, and it's like it's very useful.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, especially going back to what Trump was doing. I mean, it's like he was even on the Undertaker's podcast during his presidency, and it's like,
well, during his presidential campaign,
right? But being able to use those connections, I mean, especially through Hollywood and through just plain respect and using their fan base. I mean, it's like many celebrities, even those who weren't politicians, are have been using the WWE as a springboard for their career, if they haven't been around much or they're just starting out.
Well, I'm going to go ahead and tell you a story that I don't know if you've heard yet, but Jesse Ventura actually shared this on Chris Van Vliet's podcast on YouTube about an angle that he pitched to Vince McMahon in 2007 for the 2008 election, to where Vince McMahon goes on record and says, hey, I don't like any of the political opponents this year. I'm going to run under my own party, the WWE party, and I'm going to run for president. And he goes out and gets ballot access in all 50 states. And Ventura comes in and says, like, no, I should be the candidate for the party. Then they do what they did with Trump and the Battle of the Billionaires, where they choose a wrestler to represent them. Ventura's guy goes over. Then at WrestleMania, after he goes over, it's like, this is no longer work. I really am running for president, because he always believed if he could get ballot access in all 50 states, he could possibly win. So, but that was actually a legit angle that he pitched back in 2007 for the 2008 election to possibly see, because he was interested in running that time. He even said during his Hall of Fame speech, saying, I think we should have a wrestler in the White House in 2008. So, a little anecdote there.
So what do you think the world would be like if Jesse Ventura actually stepped up and managed to become president?
I was going to say that would be an interesting one, because his political positions are definitely unique for a politician, to say the least, but he does have credibility, he does have experience in office, he served our country, and he also knows how to manipulate people's emotions, so, you never know until it happens. So, but he still has that aspiration somewhat in him, but he also said in one of his books that he thought he'd be, shot in the head, second he took office. So, I digress on that.
So, what other avenues in politics have there been? I mean, especially with professional wrestling, because, we've had, like, so many of that are in politicians and whatnot, but I mean, it's like, there have been other wrestlers that have gone into politics, like, especially in Japan, like you mentioned, but, like, what's the spectrum? I mean, how far can a wrestler go? I mean, other than possibly governor?
Well, look, I think a wrestler absolutely could become president, especially like I've heard being said, all throughout the years in the last like half decades, like, hey, what would The Rock be like in office? Because he's somebody that's definitely taken an interest in politics over the last decade or so. He's endorsed a couple of people for president. He knows the movie industry, and he's a heck of a businessman, and he knows how to manipulate people's emotions to the point where he can get, a crowd behind them, so you never really know what could happen with him, because I see him perhaps having the aspirations for that, but then again, he's making so much dang money as an actor. He's on the board of TKO, which is a parent company for WWE, so, I mean, who's to say? But I was going to say, one thing that should not be overlooked, too, is think global but start local. Well, there's like a couple other people that have been mayor here in the industry. Like Matt Morgan, I just found out was a mayor or deputy mayor in Florida. Rick Steiner, who's Braun Breaker's father, in case, there's some fans that are a little bit dated as far as knowing who the Steiner brothers are, because I grew up on them, and some of these guys, some of the people that listen to us might only be watching like on Monday nights and stuff like that. But I was going to say, he's a school board, on school board in Cherokee County, Georgia, running that because he has an interest in local education, seeing how the school systems run. So it's like, even if it's, as high as president or as, just at the local levels, I think that a lot of wrestlers, especially with having to deal with backstage politics, it kind of prepares you mentally for that. But also, it kind of like, if you get out of the industry and it's like, hey, I could actually use these methods that I've learned mentally to be able to learn how to try and make my community a better place. I mean, and it also comes down to timing, because right in the middle of the Attitude Era, Jerry Lawler thought it would be a good idea to go and run for mayor in 1999. During the middle of the Attitude Era, in the middle of puppies. And then you turn the channel one way, it's like you see, WWF and the Attitude Era and all the violence and the sex that they're promoting. Then you're in Memphis and you turn the channel and there's a commercial. It's like, hi, I'm Jerry Lawler. I'm here running for mayor. It's kind of like that contrast I was kind of mentioning a little bit earlier and making fun of with Linda a little bit, but that actually did happen with Lawler, and I think that was a huge part of the reason why he didn't do better in that election, and I think he thinks the same way too, so.
Well, especially with, like you mentioned, the merger with TKO and everything, the backstage politics has become the center front for a lot of fans, and especially with like the merger with going to Netflix, all the new stuff that the company is doing, especially now that they're under the regime of Paul Levesque, also known as Triple H, for those of you who don't know.
He's the one kind of steering the ship, like as far as creative and a little bit more on like what's presented on TV. The Rock is on the board, which also controls UFC. His role is kind of more the business side of it, like making mergers, acquisitions, stuff like that, to my knowledge.
And tell people about Nick Khan.
Nick Khan's the pretty much where Linda was to begin with. Like, he's a little bit more on the business and contractual side of all that, but he does have his hand a little bit in the presentation side of it, just to kind of make sure that basically it'd be Triple H's, like, I don't want to say assistant, but somebody that he uses to work off of. That kind of makes sense? So, but, it just kind of depends on, like, how you see it. It's like some people like him, some people don't. He hasn't given me a reason to really dislike him.
Right.
So it's more just like the industry itself and how it's evolved that kind of makes me want to, start our own stuff again. So, because I like the way that things were done back in the day better. That's just me.
Now, we're talking about back in our days as...
Well, back in our
back in our days when we were promoters.
Yeah, we're old.
We did it in 2020, right when the
Pandemic
started, and we had good matches. We had a good setup. It's just that we tried to promote to a TV audience when we didn't have one.
Now, well, because we thought that we were going to be getting that TV audience instantly because we were going to be trying to do stuff on Patreon, and then we couldn't even get a place to get a ring and have licensing and all that from the Iowa Athletic Commission. So we actually got to do it in a venue, register it there, and we just couldn't get that business model off the ground. Do I think it could work now? It'd be hard, but it'd be possible. But, I think we're kind of getting closer to that.
Well, I mean, especially since we attempted to make media the forefront of the company,
Yes.
A lot of the other companies have started to use media as their forefront.
You played no.
But, I mean...
And we were open when we said, it's like, hey, we hope other companies follow our footsteps in doing that. And looking at a lot of what the other companies around here that I've worked for are doing, yeah, absolutely. So yeah.
Well, I mean, you find politics in the indies, you find politics in the big leagues, you find... No!
Any industry where there's money involved or status involved, there's going to be politics regardless. Acting, making ball bearings even. It's like you're going to find it in every facet of life pretty much. It's just a matter of how far are you willing to go to keep your spot or take somebody else's spot or try to promote yourself to the spot you want to be in and make the money you want to make. That's all it is. It's the same as everything in life. It's just that it's more ruthless in wrestling because we're in this testosterone like fueled environment where could be at each other's throats in any second now. But then again, hey, it could be the same making cupcakes with two businesses down the street. You never know.
Well, let's check the...
Oh, we still got about 3.5 more minutes.
Alrighty.
Like 3.5 more minutes, people. 3.5 more minutes. In my Gary Michael Capetta voice.
Well, we've been going crazy with our podcast, especially with...
No!
We've been going crazy with our podcast because, I mean, especially within... like the new setup, and it's a great setup, and we thank KPAO for everything.
Oh, they've been great to us.
Just still getting into the groove of being filmed at the same time as doing the podcast because it's a little harder to edit.
Yeah, well, also, do keep this in mind, too. It's like everything that we, try to communicate on forums, like, or being able to keep time and all that. I mean, we're pretty upfront about it. It's like, yeah, we're trying to make sure we keep time because, we want to make sure that we're respectful to the studio, too. So,
yeah.
It's not like one of those things where you can, drag and paste quite as easily. You got to also take into account the video on there, too. So, it's like, it's very raw, but we like it raw. Actually, that came out wrong.
We like Raw's War.
Yeah.
Yeah, Raw's War. Wrestling.
Yep. Or Monday Night Raw, where it's like very in your face. And it's like it's live. It's the way it is. So, But anyway, but going back, one more thing on the politics. No matter where you are in wrestling, no matter where you are in life, you're going to have to deal with it eventually. I always try to follow the model, go and be truthful, be integrable, but also be honest and stick to your guns. That's the way I always feel. It's like I'm not getting anybody in trouble out of malice or anything like that. It's just like if somebody I have a difference of opinion on, it's not out of malice. It's just how I feel and, the direction I think things should go, and I'm going to leave it at that.
Alrighty. Well, it's time to go home.
I keep forgetting to bring that dang pencil with me.
Yeah, you gotta bring the pencil. They're filming us now.
Yeah. Well, it's gonna make even more sense if we ever get shown in Tennessee. So that's where it's really prevalent.
Alrighty. Thank you for joining us for episode 15 about politics and professional wrestling. Follow us on your favorite podcast platform. And on YouTube, where it's Working the World 0240.
Wait a second. We have another 20 seconds.
Showing the time, dun dun, showing the time, dun dun.
Breaking the law. No.
Yeah, that's what I was going for.
Well, actually, if you're going to politics, you can't be doing that.
No!
All right. And of course, as always, don't forget to shoot the half.
Shoot the half and stay classy.